And away we go. We are off and live, running fast on a Tuesday night. And the two men that I'm rolling the pick and roll with here are Justin Elaine, and we got Alex Tordai on as well, coming down from Framingham. The crew, as you know, as always, Frankie is had something come up tonight, so it's just going to be the Three Musketeers. But nevertheless, the Celtics got Evan Fournier. Nikola Vucevic was really the person who is the big trade target for teams in the NBA, an all-star that was free around the deadline, and the Magic ultimately traded him to the Bulls. We'll talk about the viability of them. And does Oladipo help the Heat get back to their winning ways? As Miami Heat, as LaMarcus Aldridge gets bought out by the Spurs, and that brings Drummond all the way out to the Lakers. So it just kind of seems like the rich are getting richer. And is Jimmy Garoppolo, is he even available right now? We'll talk about that as we talk about the Dolphins looking to continue to stockpile draft picks. So, guys, we started out with the Orlando Magic going into a full rebound mode this year after trading away their best players. I always say this personally, anytime you can get Orlando's number 3 option, you just have to. I mean, is that what Danny Ainge was saying? We don't want to quite give the picks that it would take for Vucevic. We're not going to give him for Gordon. Well, here we go. Evan Fournier, the consolation prize. So, guys, were you happy with the move about Evan Fournier? What do you think he's going to do for this mix on this Celtics squad?
I wasn't that upset over what we gave up, but I think I was more upset once we found out what Vucevic and Aaron Gordon went for. I mean, they didn't really go up for much. I think Fournier definitely fills a need, especially with shooting off the bench. Eventually, I'd like to see him in the starting lineup over Marcus Smart because, let's face it, he has become a liability on offense and defense at this point. I don't know. It was just kind of one of those trades. It was like a Bruins trade deadline where it's like, who'd we get? Oh, okay. I guess he fits a role on our bench. Like, we need another scorer. I would have rather gone for an Harrison Barnes or an Aaron Gordon type.
Yeah, and I'm sure they did go for those guys, but sometimes you come up empty. I don't think we came up empty at the trade deadline. I'm actually pretty confident in what Fournier is going to bring to the table. Given the price tag, 2 second-round picks for the guy, absolute no-brainer. Danny's not trying to give up much of value in any trade for whatever reason. And I think that, it was just too much for him to send back for either Vucevic or Gordon when he's got a young guy like Robert Williams really, taking that next step. And I'm excited to see what they do. I don't hate it at all.
Okay, totally get that you don't hate it. I don't hate it either. But how much happier would you be, Alex, right now if they had pulled the trigger on a guy like Vucevic? Would that have made the Celtics a competitor?
It depends on what's given up, right? If you have to give up, Smart and Kemba in the deal to get Vucevic, then no, I don't think it's a fantastic deal for us in that regard. I don't think it's going to put us over the edge. I think that's the real thing. What was the cost to the Celtics for Vucevic? We know what it was for the Bulls, but what was it for the Celtics? Because it might have been a little bit higher than what the Bulls gave up. But even having said that, they gave up 2 first-round picks for a team that's rebuilding and Wendell Carter Jr. So they basically gave up 3 first-round picks, 2 that could be very high value, especially if Levine bolts. And, it just seems like that was a really high price to pay for Danny. I can't see him giving up 3 first-round picks for Vucevic. And then you look at what Aaron Gordon went for, and I feel like, that was a bit of what was it again? It was the guard, Gary Harris, and who was the other player that they sent back in that trade?
I think there was there a couple guys that went back in that trade? Like did Billy Barton go in that one too? Or
no, it was Harris, and then Beasley's on the Timberwolves now. One of the other bench point shooting guards. They have a bunch of them over there. And Alex, like for what you said, Vucevic going to the Bulls makes 0 sense to anyone. That was like when Drummond went to the Cavs last year. It's like, for what purpose? Because Wendell Carter, I think, could be a really good player, and he's so young. Why are you trading those first-round picks when you know the Bulls are going to suck next year and that's going to be a good pick? for a guy that's 30.
Right.
Like he should be going to a contending team. I would have much rather seen him going to like the Clippers or a team that like needs an actual center. But I mean, let's face it, the Nets are going to the championship this year. So, I mean, I guess it's not that bad of a thing. We didn't trade away a first-round pick because I don't see anyone getting past the Nets.
So it was Will Barton and Gary Harris, right?
Yes.
Or RJ Hampton and Gary Harris went for
Right.
Aaron Gordon. So what would we have to give up in comparison as the Celtics? We'd probably be looking at Romeo Langford and another good young player like a Smart or something like that for Aaron Gordon. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I just don't know that they would have put us over the edge. And I love giving up 2 second-round picks, which we definitely don't need.
Yeah.
Looks like Billy's having.
Yeah, he's having a little internet difficulties. But no, I mean, I think Aaron Neesmith, I think was, and if you trade Neesmith and Langford for, I really like Langford. I know some people don't. I really think he's going to be a really good player for us off the bench. He can play good D. He's versatile. He can cut to the hoop. I just like the Neesmith guy. Like I just don't really see how he fits in ever in this lineup. Like he was supposed to hit threes, and I mean,
he's been
he's
decent. He's young.
but-
He's just going to keep getting better, especially with those shooters. Usually they don't come in and light the world on fire right away, like you see like the superior athletes do. I think he needs a year or two. He's already grown so much. I mean, you look at the plays he's making on pick and rolls and stuff like that he really wasn't making before. The passes he's making now that he wasn't making earlier in the season.
Mhm.
I like what Naismith has brought to the table so far. So I have a lot of confidence in him going forward.
Looks like Josh has a good question. I think we all feel it every single time we watch the Celtics play. No matter who's shooting threes, they're lighting us up. I don't know, Billy, you want to take this one first? See what your thoughts are on it?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the only thing is that the Celtics, I don't think Kemba Walker's a great defender. And I think that sometimes, Marcus can be a little bit too relentless maybe. So maybe he is just chasing a lot of guys off the line, and then guys are like making shots if they know he's a little bit too overbearing. I can't really think of anything that's, kind of pointing out why necessarily guards are like having their way with them, aside from, I don't think they feel like they're great individual. Obviously Marcus Smart's a great defender, but I feel like, it's pretty easy to take Kemba Walker to school right now.
Yeah, and I feel like Jalen being hurt too, definitely. I mean, Jalen's not an elite defender, but he's definitely a good defender. And Kemba just gets lost out there. I mean, can we get a point guard that's not a liability on defense? I know it's hard because there's so many that are liabilities on defense, but I just feel like whenever a team sets a pick against us, like a center or a power forward, it just leaves a shooter wide open with Kemba because he can't either cut in front or cut behind the guy, and it's been happening all year. It's certainly frustrating, especially when a guy like Josh Hart or Eric Bledsoe start going off against us. It's like, come on.
Alex, can you put your finger on it?
It's just something where I feel like they've been doing this for more than just this year. I mean, look at what the Heat did to us in the playoffs. Maybe something was exposed we aren't seeing, but it's not good. And we got to cut it down if, we want to do anything serious. I mean, this has been going on all season, so you can't really blame it all on Kemba or anything like that. I'd obviously have thought Kemba was the main issue with that, but turns out it's really a team problem. They're hitting him over everyone. Tatum, Smart, everyone's getting worked. So I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but I'd like to see it resolved.
Yeah, why was Grant Williams starting last night? Can anyone tell me why Grant Williams was starting against Zion Williamson?
He's the Zion stopper.
Oh, yeah.
Please.
That's
Him
like
and
Marcus
his
Morris.
fundamentals are barely even staying in the league. Come on, I mean,
It's like Marcus Morris being the LeBron stopper.
I don't know, man. Grant Williams is just that lockdown guy. Zion basically disappeared when Grant Williams was on him.
what did Grant Williams play on him for like 5 minutes or something?
5 seconds.
Like, why wouldn't you have at least started semi-usually? Like, at least some guy that actually can play decent D and is strong. Like,
I think
what happened?
Yeah.
He said
What's
I was
happening?
out I think he was last night.
Oh, okay. Then that makes more sense. Yeah, I haven't seen much of Semi the past couple weeks, couple games. Like, I don't know if he's hurt, but I feel like at the beginning of the year, he filled a good role in this team where he was that 3-and-D guy. He hit the corner threes. He could play decent D. He wasn't a liability. He knew where to take his shots. He knew when to pass. And he just kind of has, he's been hurt, unfortunately. He kind of played that PJ Tucker role, just 3 in the corner. That's all he's got to do. He's always wide open. So I feel like he was having his best season up until recently. But apparently he is hurt.
There's a little Josh Dodd in your face for you.
Take that. Have Josh call in.
So obviously we're going to get to the bigger moves that happen with LaMarcus and Drummond, but the Heat add Victor Oladipo in a pretty quiet move too. And I'm wondering if that for you guys, adds anything to Miami trying to get back into this thing and having a decent run. Like, they kept talking about how they're going to run it back. I don't think they're going to do that, but what do you think about the Victor Oladipo addition for them? Does that make them dangerous in the East?
It definitely hikes them up a notch. They're not going to beat the Brooklyn Nets, though. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, I feel like it's a good move, but I feel like they needed. I don't know. I just feel like that team's not going to go anywhere no matter who they get. Like, I really feel like if Vucevic would have helped because you could have put Bam at the 4. But Oladipo, has he had that many good games this year? Since he got back, like, he hasn't been anything really special. And that limits the amount of minutes Tyler Hero plays, obviously. Unless Dragic is hurt, I think Dragic is a crucial role player for any team. You watch him, like, you think he stinks, then you watch him in the playoffs, and that guy gets every freaking bucket. And he's a pain in the ass to play against.
Who should have gone to the Heat was Giannis. If he goes there, then you have Tyler Hero to spread the floor with him. So, like, you open up that whole dynamic, and then Bam down low. I mean, that would be if you could trade some pieces to get Giannis. Like, I feel like it's kind of a bummer that he signed with Milwaukee for the long haul. Do you guys think they'll ever seriously compete?
Yeah, they're going to seriously compete and come up seriously short.
I guess that's what I meant by serious.
They would need another, like, top-tier superstar if they traded away Middleton and Drew Holiday. They would need a top-tier superstar in return. I'm surprised they haven't reached out to, like, DeMarcus Cousins or anyone else here. I know he's not a stud anymore, but he's another piece. Man, I just don't see the Bucks ever taking a title home unless someone comes and blesses Giannis and gives him a lot of help.
I mean, the Bucks screwed up when they didn't re-sign Brogdon. You re-sign Brogdon, you don't need to trade for Holiday. You could have got Brogdon for way less money. Then you could have actually got an actual good center or like an actual power forward or a guy that can actually take some shots off of him. I think Brogdon is probably one of the most underrated players in the NBA.
Yep.
Hands down, both sides of the ball. That guy is clutch. Like, he never gets talked about, but he puts up 17 and maybe close to 10 every single game. 95% free throw shooter, great defender. And you gave up him for who? Eric Bledsoe? How did Bledsoe get there?
Yeah, he came from Phoenix.
Whatever. Let's just face it. That team is not going anywhere.
Nope. Going nowhere fast, as they say.
Yeah. All right, well, let's get to it then. LaMarcus Aldridge gets bought out by the Spurs and signs with the Nets in a move that, I think is a little bit gutless, guys. I mean, LaMarcus Aldridge.
Oh, lost Billy.
Billy's kind of breaking in and out. Must be that Waltham internet. I think what he was trying to say is the Aldridge signing Blake Griffin. I don't know about you, Alex, but I think it's crazy that both guys went to the Nets. I don't know how much actual role they'll have on the team, but it's just crazy that these guys are told, like, to sit and then they don't get traded. They just get bought out and get to sign with whoever the hell they want to sign with.
Yeah, I mean, why? I don't think it's ridiculous. I love it. Let them stack the teams. Let's see an epic matchup in the finals. I think the Lakers will get trounced if they make it, but they're not even my pick to come out of the West. I think, the Nuggets probably just work their way up to my number 1 seed in the West, in my opinion.
So you don't think you're not a Utah Jazz guy then, like Frank is?
No, definitely not. We're thinking of you, Frank.
So I haven't been a Utah Jazz guy since I've watched them a couple times this year, and my God, those guys can shoot everywhere. But the Andre Drummond signing was the big one. That was like a big FU to the rest of the NBA. Everyone thought he was going to go to the Nets, thought that he could go to the Heat, maybe the Celtics, and then he just signs with the Lakers. And it's just like, oh, okay, you get a premier center in his prime to be up against with Anthony Davis. Like, freaking Jokic is not going to be able to do shit against them when they go into the playoffs. Gobert is not going to be able to do anything.
Yep. It's so bad, really. It's like, dude, come on.
Justin, the most false thing you said about that was that the Celtics had a chance.
Hey, they're a rumor.
But I will say this, I just think it is crazy that we're talking about him going to LA. I mean, we talked about the fact of you take LeBron James, you take Anthony Davis, you put 2 of the top 5 players on one team. I mean, now you're talking about arguably, I mean, you could argue that Andre Drummond is the best center in the league. Maybe you think it's Gobert, but I mean, Drummond is definitely up there. And for them to be able to add, if all 3 of those guys are healthy, which is a big if, I mean, are you taking another team against them if those 3 guys are healthy? So
no,
that's what I say. I mean, it's a big if, but let's see those 3 guys healthy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still taking the Nets. Just being honest.
Nets all day, really. I mean,
you like the Lakers' overall depth better than the Nets?
How?
I mean, if we're talking a game of 3-on-3, AD and Braun would be tough to stop with Drummond there. But we're not. We're still talking full team. The Nets aren't going to lose that game.
Okay.
Not this year.
That's a lot of size to beat. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of size, that Lakers
They've
team.
got size. They've got DeAndre Jordan. They've got, LaMarcus Aldridge, Blake Griffin. They've got size.
Yeah.
I just don't think that the Lakers guards positions will be able to keep up with Harden and Irving. I feel like Danny Green is a good defender. Caldwell Pope is, I guess, okay at defense. But Dennis Schroeder, does he even play defense? It's going to be a hard thing. And, like, who do you guard? Is LeBron going to guard KD? Is LeBron going to guard Harden? Like, it's going to be impossible. And, like, you could put Aldridge in that series to play center or power forward. They just have so many players. And then who's guarding Joe Harris? The little white guy's going to be wide open for threes the entire series.
Well, that's what I'm saying with the impact of Aldridge. I mean, you could be talking about Aldridge being your 6th or 7th best player on that team. I mean, that's pretty nuts.
Yeah, absolutely. I honestly feel like by playoff time, I think he'll be the center, depending on the matchup in terms of the series, and DeAndre Jordan will come off the bench. I mean, except for Embiid, there's no real big center in the East that you have to be afraid of.
So right now, the Nets starting lineup has Joe Harrison at the small forward, right?
Yep.
Man, what a team they have! I would not want to face them, man. It's going to be tough to beat. I don't know if their defense got much better by those moves, but their basketball IQ through the roof, man. It's going to be really tough for anyone to stop the Nets, especially in the Eastern Conference. I think everyone's going to get worked come playoff time if everyone's healthy.
Yeah. I mean, like how healthy is Embiid? Is he coming back at some point? Is he done for a while? Because that was the only real threat to them is Embiid. Because there's no one on the Nets that can guard him.
I don't know when he's coming back. I'm checking on it right now.
I mean, let's face it. Like, I looked at the standings the other day. The Celtics are what, the 9th seed? Like, how bad are we at this point? When did the ship sail? Because we were literally like the 3rd seed before the All-Star break, and then like we just can't win against anybody, including the shitty teams.
He's got a bone bruise on his left knee, so he's going to be out for like another few weeks. He'll be back in 3.
Yeah. So I just have a question for you guys too. Like, at what point do you think some of this blame goes on Brad Stevens this season?
I mean, I think it's a painter is only so good as their tools. I think that Brad Stevens is, he probably at this point looks like a better college coach. Maybe he's more suited for the college game, but I mean, he hasn't been able to get the production that you want to see him be able to get out of stars, but they also haven't given him the best stars to be able to play with. So, I'd probably put Brad Stevens on this probably like 3, 4, 5, but I'm definitely putting Ainge at the top.
I feel like the coaching, like when IT was our best player, granted we were a great regular season team, not a great playoff team, but even like the year that we went to the Eastern Conference Finals without Irving and Hayward, like there was actual like coaching going on, ball movement. And I just feel like the players like Tatum doesn't really respect him, I feel like. And Jaylen Brown is kind of like, yeah, whatever, man. Like back then, they had full respect for Brad Stevens. Every play he called, it was an actual offensive play instead of let's just wait till Jason Tatum 3 seconds left to shoot a shot. Like there's no offensive ball movement whatsoever. And I don't know. I just personally feel like he might have lost the locker room at this point because I don't think any of them actually listen to him anymore.
You don't like Tatum's Mamba mentality, man?
Yeah. That's what Tatum playing the way he has the past month is why we lost to the Heat. He did the same thing in that games 5 and 6 in that series last year. It was just the Tatum show, fadeaway threes. Like go to the freaking hoop, get a free throw, pass the ball.
Yep.
It's painful to watch. I don't see Donovan Mitchell taking freaking 33s a game. I see him actually passing the ball, making some good decisions. Man, these freeze outs by Billy, like his face just looks phenomenal right now. There he is.
Oh, God. Not working well?
It's looking good.
I don't know. Can you? No.
Not much. Must have forgot to pay the Comcast bill. So while we're waiting for him, let's talk about your Florida vacation, man.
Are we off air right now?
No, we're on the air, but where are you going? Fort Lauderdale?
Yep, I am. Are we going to wait for Billy to get back on?
Yeah, we're waiting for him to get back on.
Oh man, yeah, no, can't wait. Ready to get out of Mass. Where are we right now? Are we on the Miami Heat? Or no, wait, we're on 2 veteran. Yeah, are we getting the NFL right now?
Yeah, we can go to the NFL.
Yeah, why don't we just start with the 49ers? So they just traded away the next few years of first-round picks to move up to number 3 in the draft. Pretty wild move for someone that's trying to keep their current quarterback. What do you think is going to happen there?
I mean, I think at the beginning we all thought, all right, this is our time. We're getting Jimmy G. I don't believe them for a heartbeat that they're going to keep Jimmy G. Makes no sense.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. There's Whitey. You should have Whitey dialing. I don't know. It's hard to tell right now what they're going to do. But that was a haul to trade up to number 3. And if you're trading up to 3 to take Mac Jones, you gave up that much. Like that can't actually be the plan. I don't know, Billy. What do you think?
Yeah. I think the plan's pretty simple.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can hear you. Hey,
oh God, that was good. That was good.
God.
Oh Christ! All right. Well, this is going stupid.
Is this coming in real time or what?
Now I think it is. Billy, respond to my question. Red 44 is what color?
Red.
little lag. All right, we're fine. At least he looks good.
All right.
Yeah, so I think that they're absolutely targeting one of the top guys, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, definitely two of my favorites, Mac Jones. I think there's so much treasure behind Trevor. I mean, as long as you tanked and somewhat sucked, you're walking away with a shot at a really like franchise level quarterback. I love all these top four guys: Mac Jones, Trevor. Even Justin and who's that other kid? Trey Lance. Trey Lance is up there, and then Zach. I
Trey
love
Lance.
Zach from BYU. I think this kid's a stud. He's being compared to Mahomes. I mean, when I watch him throw the football, what he was doing without pads on, mind you, was some of the most impressive throwing of the football we've probably ever seen at the college, from a college level quarterback.
Yeah. So it's funny.
Russell had some pretty impressive throws.
Yeah. It's funny. Like there was that throw that Wilson made last week that like he's like running away from his body and he threw it like 60 yards. And one of the guys on Get Up made a good point. He's like, the Jets really want this guy that bad. You know, Sam Darnold made that same throw in an actual NFL game, right? Like multiple times. Like the Jets are so quick to get rid of Sam Darnold. Like if I'm the Jets, right? I'm sticking with Sam Darnold. I'm moving down a couple picks. If that's what you got for the third pick, imagine how many first-round picks you can get to move down a couple spots. Like I guarantee you the Panthers would move up. The Broncos would move up. All these teams would move up to get this kid. Get 3 first-round picks and build your team out. There's no reason to trade Sam Darnold at this point. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I totally agree. I was actually saying that earlier this week. I mean, why go for like what you don't know that you have? You have one last year of this guy. You have him under cost control. I mean, the guy is 23 years old, and we're talking about him as like he's almost old and done. So, I would roll with this kid. He's a big physical kid. He was bad behind Gase's line, and obviously you could see why you might not be good with Gase. So, I'd give him another shot in this year where you have some good cost control over him. See what you get with him.
Yeah, I mean, you could trade down to like 6 maybe, and you could still get either that Kyle Pitts kid or one of the Alabama wide receivers, and you can get like 2 or 3 first-round picks. Why wouldn't you do that instead of drafting a kid that, I mean, he looks really good throwing to open receivers, but he was at BYU last year, and you have a kid that actually has talent on your roster right now. But I'm sure the Jets will draft him and trade Sam Darnold for a third-round pick.
They'll ruin his career is what they'll do.
I mean, if I'm the Bears, I'm calling the Jets right now. I'll offer you a second-round pick for Sam Darnold and see what they can get.
Yep.
I mean,
yeah, I would take Sam Darnold in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, what's the point of keeping him? It's the same thing as Garoppolo. Like, why are you keeping this person when you can get draft capital, a second or a third round pick? You can get more for Darnold than you can for Garoppolo.
Yeah.
I mean,
do we think the 49ers are rolling with Garoppolo this year or what?
No.
I think they're rolling with him. He's going to be their starter, and they're banking on him getting hurt and some young gun coming in and taking that job. That's what's going to happen. I mean, I'll be shocked if someone takes his job. I mean, but at the same time, I mean, Jimmy's really not that good. I don't think he's that good a quarterback, and I'm ready to be done with the Jimmy Garoppolo experiment in San Fran. He sucks.
So I think Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't suck. He's not a franchise quarterback. He's a guy that if you have a good defense, he's kind of like a game manager. But if you're trading 3 first-round picks to move up, why are you going to keep Jimmy G? Like, you traded all that capital to have this kid sit on the bench? You have a 49ers roster that can win right now. Why would you let him sit on the bench? That makes no sense at all. There's plenty of teams out there.
Jimmy Garoppolo sit on the bench?
No, the first-round draft pick. Where would they take Mac Jones, Justin Fields? Like Joe Burrow started day one. He can play. You could tell, like, he gets in the NFL and he can actually play. Some of these other quarterbacks needed some time, granted, but, I mean, what's his name? In Arizona, he didn't need any time. Just throw him in there. It looks great. It's hard to tell. I mean, I don't see them keeping Jimmy. I don't see Sam Darnold if they draft a quarterback keeping him. It's going to be interesting next couple of weeks, that's for sure.
Very
You have the
interesting.
quarterbacks that Arizona has. It's not that scary to toss Kyler Murray in there into the fire.
Well, they drafted Josh Rosen. Remember that the year before, 10th.
Yeah.
10th overall.
But that's what teams honestly should do is you should put more stock in getting a good quarterback. It's by far the most important position. Like some people say that the 49ers look dumb for this move. They really look dumb for paying a little bit of a premium to keep a pretty good starter and then be able to draft some guy at the third spot. Like this is a team that doesn't want to take a big step off from having a good quarterback. It's like play Garoppolo for this 1 year and develop this kid. It doesn't seem like that bad of a plan if you're the 49ers.
Yep.
But you, if you're trading up to get Mac Jones, would you trade 3 first-round picks to get Mac Jones?
Would I give you 3 picks for him?
Yeah, say
first round picks.
If you're the 49ers, would you feel confident trading 3 first-round picks for Mac Jones?
Probably no.
Yeah, exactly. Why are you trading up for something that you already have? If you're trading up for Justin Fields or Trey Lance, who is a more dynamic quarterback that can run and throw the ball, that's different. But Mac Jones is a sit-in-the-pocket quarterback that throws really accurate medium route throws, but can't throw the ball deep, just like Jimmy Garoppolo. Why are you trading for something you already have? Trading 3 first-round picks to get him, by the way.
I mean, if you're the 49ers, why do you even want Garoppolo that much? You wouldn't even play him this year. I don't know. Some of this makes sense. Some of it doesn't. It's like you didn't even like Garoppolo during the season. Now you're thinking about keeping him over a top 3 pick, Well,
that's why he's definitely getting traded.
It'll be great for the top 3
Well,
picks.
that's what I'm saying. The 49ers come out and say that they're not.
Yeah.
I think that's just to drive trade. But no, go ahead, Alex.
No, I'm just saying the 49ers, I mean, they're going to have Jimmy Garoppolo there who learned from the greatest of all time, who's going to probably mentor whoever this kid is that comes in. I think that he could do some good work there because, listen, if you train behind Tom Brady for that long, you're going to pick up some important things, right? I just don't think Jimmy has the talent. But what I do think is that he has the knowledge that he gained from Brady, and hopefully he will be willing to share that and give that to whatever young gun comes in. Who knows? Who knows what could happen?
But the other thing, too, is that Kyle Shanahan's the coach, right? He's been a quarterback coach. He has literally made very average quarterbacks into good quarterbacks. I don't think you need to keep Jimmy Garoppolo to groom this young quarterback if Kyle Shanahan is your coach.
That's fair. You got me there.
You don't – if you're in another roster like the Dolphins or something, you need Fitzpatrick because who's the offensive coordinator there? I don't even know. But Kyle Shanahan's like a quarterback guru. So you don't need to keep Jimmy Garoppolo. That's why I don't believe the fact they're going to keep him. He's just a waste of $30 million on your cap. And he sucks. They don't even want him. You could get – and the fact that people are like, oh, Patriots should trade him for a first-round pick. No one's trading a first-round pick for Jimmy Garoppolo. He is worth maybe a 3rd-round pick. If Bill Belichick's going to trade away him for a 2nd-round pick and get him back for a first, he looks like a terrible GM. He's damaged goods at this point. 3rd, maybe 4th-round pick.
Some
team will pay more than that, though, for Jimmy Garoppolo.
Some dumb team will. I don't know if they even will, though. You might have a point.
There's not many teams that need
Bears would take him. I'm sure the Bears would take him over Andy Dalton.
I think the Bears really think that they still have a chance at Russell Wilson. That thing's not going. They're throwing everything at the kitchen sink to get him. Unfortunately, the Seahawks have no backup, so they're not just going to trade him for nothing.
I'll tell you what, if the Bears got a top-tier quarterback, they'd be a team to watch out for sure.
They would. Especially Russell Wilson.
Agreed. I mean, I'd like a little bit more wide receiver talent if Russell Wilson came, but still, Allen Robinson's a pretty good start.
I just feel like the Seahawks at this point are better than the Bears. The Bears kind of their defense is – it's not that young elite defense like it was a couple years ago. Khalil Mack's a couple years older. I don't even know who else is like. They've lost a couple cornerbacks. I don't know if the Bears are really a go-to destination for Russell Wilson. If you would just come here,
You don't have any quarterback of value. Any quarterback.
there's not many teams in the NFL that need quarterbacks right now. That's the reality of the situation. If you're smart, you try to get on the Giants.
The ones that do will probably draft him.
If the Giants traded Daniel Jones to the Seahawks and they gave him two first round picks, I think that's a pretty fair trade.
That'd be next level. I mean, that would be next level. The Giants' offense would go from 0 to hero, just like that.
Or Cleveland, trade Baker. Like if you don't really want to sign him, trade Baker because the Seahawks need a quarterback to take over.
Oh, I would trade Baker. Sell high.
Yeah.
That's exactly like you need an asset to trade back to get him. Fortunately, there's not many quarterback positions available right now, except in New England, where our Pro Bowl quarterback is. Billy's waiting for him to make the Pro Bowl this year.
Well, we spend $3 million on the quarterback here. Big investment in the quarterback. We can spend all over the roster, but except for the most important position.
I think this is the most important draft of Bill Belichick's career in New England.
Does he know that though?
Back they take Kyle.
If they're not, what's that?
Kyle Trask, maybe.
If you're not drafting a quarterback in the first round, you better be getting either that defensive end from Miami or the linebacker from Penn State. And have a cornerstone franchise defensive player for years to come. Do not draft a freaking receiver. Please don't. Please do not draft a cornerback.
I'll take Jalen Waddle. I like me some Devontae Smith. I'll take either Bama wide receiver as long as they went to Bama. Give them
both those guys will be gone in the top 10. There's some good
go before both them. If the Bengals listen to Joey Burrow.
If the Bengals listen to Joey Burrow, they'll draft an offensive lineman because that guy needs help.
Panay Sewell.
Yeah. Kyle Pitts is the guy that should be going there. You put Kyle Pitts in Cincinnati. Billy, who do you want the Pats to take? He's still there, right?
I don't think so. I think we lost Billy. We lost him again.
You must be using like AOL internet right now.
I don't know what the hell's happening.
Oof.
I don't know what's happening. Maybe it's my internet.
Do. All right. Well, this is fun. This is going so well, I tell you. At one point, it was just me. I was about to hum. I was about to sing some songs. It's like,
oh God,
we left him hanging.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there like, all right.
This is not our best night.
No,
Billy,
no. I miss you, Frank.
Billy, you using AOL Startup over there?
I don't know what the deal is.
It looks better now.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're still live.
Yeah, get your phone and let's go.
Yeah, so it seemed like nice little segue here. No, I mean we're basically talking about. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to trade all that stuff for Russell Wilson personally, but
I don't know.
All right, Billy. So, like I asked you before, you froze 3 times. Who do you want at 15 if you're the Patriots?
if I'm at 15, maybe Trey Lance.
You think he's going to last how long?
I mean, I'm just gonna hope somebody like that lasts that long.
Oh,
I don't think
man.
you should take Mac Jones that early.
I even like Kyle Trask, man. I think we're gonna have 6 quarterbacks go in the first round.
The kid from Florida?
Trask, yeah. Look at his numbers. He looked like Joey Burrow. He just didn't have a defense or a team around him.
Yeah. I like him. I also like the kid from Texas A&M. I forget his last name, but he's been a stud for years in a row. And you could get him in the second round. I don't think Trey Lance or Mac Jones are going to be there. I think every year teams get desperate for the new hotshot quarterback, and a lot of them fail. If you're not getting Justin Fields,
I think
you don't trade up.
This is going to go down as the best quarterback draft class we have ever seen.
Really?
The best, hands down, the best. You've got the golden boy, Trevor Lawrence, who's the perfect quarterback prospect. That's since Andrew Luck. You've got Justin Fields, who's like a young Cam Newton, but with a better arm and probably better fashion style. You've got Zach Wilson, who looks like Patrick Mahomes with what he can do with his arm. We've got Mac Jones, who everyone's comparing to Tom Brady. I mean, high profiles against Trey Lance, all the potential in the world. And then Kyle Trask, who looks like Joe Burrow. I mean, that's 6 pretty solid guys. If even 4 of them work out, I mean, who's to say that wouldn't be better than, that Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, Phillip Rivers draft class? That's probably the best in my recent memory, right?
I think it's the 84 draft, Elway, Marino, and there was a third.
Right.
Ah, crap. But other than that, no, I agree with that.
Jim Kelly was in that one too.
Jim Kelly, yep. But yeah, no, I think this year's draft is going to be it's either going to go really good or really bad. I mean, every year I feel like lately there's 5 quarterbacks taken. Like the year that Baker went, how many of those guys got drafted? 5. Even last year, Jordan Love got drafted really late. I don't see another quarterback being drafted in the first round after those top 5, though.
I don't know, man. Trask could easily do it. You'll be surprised. He'll be that late round Lamar Jackson type of draft.
It would have to be a team that would trade into the first round to get it. Him. Davis Mills, he's another good quarterback. There's quarterbacks in the second or third round range that could be potential, like really good quarterback steals.
Just another from the best QB class of all time.
Well, what Matt White is wearing right now.
Yeah, Matt White, you should come on the show, man. We could talk some Aaron Judge stats. I wonder how Whitey feels about Big Ben coming back another year. Like, is he worth anything at this point for that franchise?
He's worth another year of not having to spend a number 1 draft pick on a quarterback. Like, he at least helps them bridge that gap. Like, would you really want a brand new guy or a year of Roethlisberger? I'd probably take the year of Roethlisberger.
Roethlisberger, if he loses a few more pounds, keeps this healthy regimen going, aka no porn or booze. Good for him for giving him up. Tough vices to give up for sure. But anyway,
that's a different show.
Yeah, I would go for Roethlisberger over anyone that the Steelers could probably get their hands on right now for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't love the option, but compared to like starting all over with a young guy, I mean, I'll take the year of Roethlisberger.
I feel like the Steelers are. I was shocked that they re-signed Juju. To be honest with you,
Same.
that was a good deal for them. Like, I'm surprised he went back there. I just feel like, I don't know, the Steelers, their defense is young and elite, and their offense is just getting old. Like, you're gonna have to come up with a backup plan at some point for Big Ben because he's gonna need. It's probably his last year. So I wouldn't be
It's gonna be
surprised
his
if
last year of effective football. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they were that team that drafted one of those quarterbacks late in the first round, the Kyle Trask-esque type quarterback, as like a backup plan for years ahead.
Yeah. So with with what the Dolphins are doing, was anybody surprised that they're this sold on Tua Tagovailoa at this point in their career? I guess I'm a little surprised they have this much faith in Tua.
Pretty crazy. I think Tua's a bum. I'd rather have Jalen Hurts than Tua. If you gave me the choice right now in the NFL, would have never guessed this years ago. But I'll take Jalen Hurts over Tua. He looked ready. He looked prepared. He looked better. His completion percentage wasn't quite as good as Tua's. Shout out Frank for pointing that out. But bottom line is, I mean, I think that, Jalen Hurts has a lot of potential. He might not be Mike Vick, but he could be pretty solid Tyrod Taylor type player. Meanwhile, Tua was getting outplayed by Ryan Fitzpatrick pretty regularly with that Dolphins setup, with that Dolphins team. So I'm pretty off the Tua train, man. Are you guys still riding?
So I personally feel like they were the team that was going to get Deshaun Watson before all this stuff happened. And if you're the Dolphins, you drafted him top 5 last year, you're going to do another year with him to see what he's worth. And best case, you got another first-round pick to throw at the Texans next year or at some point this year to go after Deshaun, hopefully if this passes everything. Because why would you go after Justin Fields if you have Tua? Like, you want to see Tua play another year and see if he's got anything. And if not, then you use all those first-round picks and Tua to get Deshaun Watson next year.
The problem is usually you can tell when a guy's got something, man. Like,
I thought he sucked before he even got drafted. I thought he was very overrated. Not sucked, but I thought he was overrated.
I'm off the Tua train. I had a feeling Herbert was going to be the best of the bunch, and I think he very well might be. But Tua, I didn't expect Tua to be this bad per se. He just didn't look like he had it, man. I think a career backup's a good position for him, obviously.
He looks too small.
Yeah, he does look small.
He looks tiny.
That Drew Brees comparison that he was getting a lot around draft time isn't too bad, but I don't think that arm talent's there, that same talent, that same knowledge of the game there.
I also feel like teams probably assumed he had a lot more physical ability in terms of moving around in the pocket, scrambling. He's not that type of quarterback. He never has been. Even at Alabama, he wasn't a guy that rushed around. He's a small guy that throws 15 to 20-yard passes pretty accurately, but outside of that, it's a crapshoot. I mean, he is what he is.
Young Alex Smith.
And you need him to play in a good offense with a good offensive line. If you don't have that, it's going to be a struggle for him.
Yes, Josh, they are troubling to the eyes.
I wouldn't have drafted him right out of college either. No way.
With the injury?
Yeah, exactly. He's been injury prone his entire career.
Yeah. When you're drafting a guy that's already injury prone, you're like, it's like, I don't know. I just feel like Tua is too small, and I think in college he had like that otherworldly as the next.
What?
Well,
say it again. Your internet's really poor.
Oh God.
this would be like made a TV commercial. Like, need faster internet?
Yeah.
Or whatever he's got. But yeah, no, I know you were a big Herbert guy, and you were right on him. I was wrong on Herbert. I thought he was going to be a bust. He's a stud, and he's going to be a stud for a very long time. He could be the best quarterback in that draft class.
Yeah. I would love to end this week's show a little bit early, given Billy's problem.
Dude, I agree 100%. I was about to end the show, and I was by myself. I was about to sing a song. Yeah, Billy, I think we were just talking about ending this show early just because we don't really know where you're going to be in a minute from now.
Oh, all right. You wanted to end it so soon.
Well, in
Again.
the next 30 seconds, you're about to go out again. I don't want to have to do magic tricks when you guys both sign off.
Okay, so I'll just end it.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
All right, good night, everyone. We'll see you next week.
We'll be better.